Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And today I want to talk about Emma Frost. I've had some time to play with her now. I got her to 6 stars, level 60, used her in Shadowland, used her in World Boss, and I wanted to give you my thoughts on whether or not she's worthwhile for you to invest because she costs crystals, and a lot of people have been immediately comparing her to Adam Warlock, to Magneto. So I wanted to kind of try and discuss those things, give you some advice, and maybe navigate your idea of her and where she could fit on your roster more expertly. Keep in mind that she is a blast character who we have a lot of. She's also a hero, at least for now. She does also have the opportunity to get a lot of uniforms because she has a lot of classic looks from the comics, and she could definitely turn into a villain because we know that she kind of plays both sides very well. So she does have that possibility in her future, but judging her on what she is really good at right now, we know that she has the kind of infamous new skill, Mind Control, which essentially does as it mentions. The enemies will stop attacking you and start attacking each other. But there's actually something, not wrong, but there's a weakness to her 5th skill, and I'll discuss it a little bit later with some clips, but she's not a perfect character by any means. The summary, or the easiest comparison I would make, is she's a better version of Enchantress. So if you think that Enchantress is a good character, if you didn't have Enchantress, would you get her now? If you answer yes to either of those questions, I think it's a pretty easy answer to save up the 2,500 crystals. It's only $5, 1 Stark stash, or more time if you're totally free to play, and you can immediately get her to 6 stars. However, getting her to tier 2 is a little bit of a different story. You cannot get her biometrics from an X-Gene bioselector, even though I have one and I tried, and you cannot get her biometrics from any of the X-Gene selectors that you purchase in the store, like these ones, these event sale ones that I have. I also tried that. She's not available. And you can't get her from the Shield Lab. You can only get her from this page. And once you purchase the initial 2,500 crystal purchase, it will revert to this new image, which gives you 160 bios and some other rewards. But let's just focus on the bios. 160 bios for 1,250 crystals. Is that a good deal? It's okay. I think it would have been better at 1,000. Or even 900 would have been super generous. But as it stands, 1250 is not enough to get you to tier 2 her with even 1 pack. So at minimum, it's going to cost an additional 2,500 because 1250 multiplied by 2. And that would give you 320 bios. That's kind of cutting it close. The average is between 300 and 350 to get a character's gears from 15 to 20 on all 4. But it can take up to 400 in some cases, depending on how lucky or unlucky you are. So it's between 2 and 3 purchases. So her final cost comes to between 5,000 and 6,250 crystals to get to tier 2. So you compare 2,500 to get her at 6 stars to 5,000 or 6,250 to get her to tier 2, and you can see a pretty big gap. It's roughly double or double and a half to getting her from that milestone to the other milestone. Is it worth it? I have yet to kind of go that route, so I don't know. Her tier 2 passive does seem quite strong. She gets a huge buff to mind damage. She also gets mind resistance, which helps her against the likes of Scarlet Witch, and it helps her fight other Emma Frosts, I guess, or tier 1 Emma Frosts. Also, it also improves her mind cloaking, which is her 4-star passive. It gives her 20% guaranteed dodge, which improves her survivability. I think her survivability is really the only question mark. Her damage is very, very good. I was able to solo a high 20s or a low 20s Shadowland stage with just Emma Frost. No bonuses, no Uru, no Obelisk. She does have an ISO 8 set, but just level 15 gear. And I believe there was no leadership involved either. So very good character, very good damage. I think survivability is going to be the only thing that kind of is her weakness, aside from the issue with her 5th skill. And I want to get into the issue with her 5th skill now so that you guys can anticipate this when it happens. Her 5th skill is actually comprised of 2 different crowd control effects. So of course, if you're going against a team that has Wasp or Odin's leadership or something like that, you can just totally ignore her main power, which is the mind control, because that's just not going to work because of the debuff immunity. However, if you're not, you still have to be on the lookout for teams that have snare immunity, because the first part of her effect is actually a 1-second bind, and that's why it's listed there under the mind control of 4 seconds. The 1-second bind actually activates first, and then after that she applies the 4 seconds of mind control. So if you take a clip like the one I'm showing you now and you slow it down, you'll see that for enemies that can't be snared, so for example world bosses or Wolverine with a snare obelisk, which we know there are a lot of because of Extreme Alliance battle, or someone who has native snare resist. I don't have a clip of this, but you can imagine that the same would happen against Spider-Man, who has the type advantage against Emma Frost, and he has, you know, he's a very popular character and he's free. He has native snare resist, so he will also not get snared, and that window, it's about a second, is enough time for enemies to get off a counterattack. So in the case of world bosses, I was getting nicked and hit for, you know, 1,000, 2,000 in between if I didn't cancel her 5th skill. And against someone like Wolverine in Timeline, he actually just basically one-shots me, or at least takes down most of my health if I don't have an invincibility obelisk, because he gets one attack in, and we all know that one attack from a tier 2 Wolverine is going to do a hell of a lot of damage, and blast types are not that strong defensively. So it's a little bit sneaky. It's definitely something to balance the character out. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it makes her a bad character. It makes her fair. She does allow you to attack, or she does allow enemies to attack each other, so that's a pretty broken skill to have if you think about it. And her other skills are not bad either. I will say that her damage on 1 and 2 is pretty low. Her 3rd skill does 0 damage, so she's really only relying on 4 and 5. However, 5 does good damage, 4 does insane damage, especially if you can get multiple characters lined up. And that was what allowed me to basically clear a long, difficult 2 million plus HP Shadowland stage with her. Now I want to take you into some quick gameplay with her so you can see what I'm talking about against Infinity Thanos, and you can see and gauge just what her damage is doing for her. Just for clarity's sake, and so you can compare it to your own, I have just under 13,000 energy attack with my card bonuses, and I have 15 and change HP. She's rocking about 47% cooldown, 43% ignore defense, and then just whatever stats for attack speed, crit damage, and crit rate. Nothing really special overall. But the main challenge is going to be, no, not World Boss Ultimate, not getting hit during that 5th skill, because he won't be affected by the snare. I'm going to give her a 24% leadership because it's just going to speed up the fight a little bit. Actually, let's go with a 30% leadership. It's going to speed up the fight a little bit, and it's not going to make a huge difference on her damage numbers. You'll still get a good idea of what she's capable of either way, and know that if you get her, you can expect this kind of gameplay from her. Now, there's 2 main rotations you want to go with if you're using her. I think for Shadowland, to improve survivability, you want to do something like opening with the 3 into the 5th skill. Once you have the effect, you can go into 1 and then go into 2, and then you want to end with the 4th skill. You end with the 4th skill because it has the 4 seconds of immunity, and that's going to protect you from damage. And then you go back into 3 and 5. You want to be able to cast 5 as often as possible because of the fact, or sorry, not 5, 3. Because of the fact that it, I already messed up the rotation, but because of the fact that it gives you that damage buff, which she does definitely need. Okay, I was trying not to get debuffed there, which is kind of sad. But you can see her damage is quite good with just a 30% leadership. I would say if you are trying to proc a damage proc with her, whether it's for Extreme Alliance battle or just a speed run, definitely try to land on her 4th skill. I think her 4th skill has the most damage out of all of her attacks. 1 and 2, and of course 3 are just kind of sad as far as damage numbers go, but 3 is like, just blows it away in terms of the overall damage numbers. If you wanted something a little bit more offensive minded, if you're having trouble especially landing hits against certain enemies, I got debuffed there, wow, okay, sure. You can try to go for 5 and then into 4. The reason why I suggest 5 into 4 is because it has so much crowd control, and so it allows you to get your 4th skill off, especially if you're using the 5th skill to proc your damage proc. Because the 5th skill has so many hits in it, it is going to proc your damage proc most of the time, and kind of in sync. I'm going to take damage there. Oh, I dodged. Wow, that was super lucky. But anyways, you can see that we're kind of cruising here. The damage is not too high. Keep in mind she's tier 1. He's dodging some of my attacks for that reason, and I only have a 30% leadership, no obelisk. But yeah, definitely 5 into 4 is a nice... well, I got guard broken there. Is a nice combo that you can use if you want your damage proc to activate. I really don't want you to go into the meteors. Don't do it. Don't do it. I told you not to do it. Listen to me, Thanos. One other thing that I really like about her character design is the fact that she creates multiple copies of herself when she uses her 5th skill. So if you cancel her 5th skill into other skills, you can see that there's other Emma Frosts like chilling around on the map, which I think is really hilarious. And it really suits the character. It really suits the character, and it makes sense because of all the illusions that she plays and she puts down as a kind of mind-controlling telepath. So there it is, just under 3 minutes. Not the fastest clear. Definitely, her damage doesn't approximate that of native tier 2s. It's not going to be that explosive because she's a native tier 1 character, but I think her damage combined with the crowd control that she has and the threat that she brings is definitely enough to make her valuable, in addition to the fact that she has the guaranteed dodge at tier 2, and she has the diamond form, which gives her super armor. It buffs her attack, it reduces the damage that she receives by 85% for 10 seconds, and if that doesn't get debuffed, then she's going to be potent. I think if you want to combine her in PvP, you have to put a debuff leadership in front of her because there's just too many things going on for her, too many buffs that she needs to have active, especially with her 3rd skill, that if she gets debuffed, it's really going to be kind of the end of the road for her. But I'll have to see, and we'll have to do more testing to see how she deals with other debuff teams, if she can actually do anything without the use of her 5th skill. But let me know what you guys think of Emma Frost. If you're surprised by her kind of hidden cost or the sneaky cost of the character, let me know down below. But I think 2,500 crystals is reasonable for a character of this power level. A lot of people paid 2,500 for Valkyrie when she came out, and Emma Frost is definitely better than Valkyrie. So hit me up in the comments below, subscribe if you enjoyed the content and you want to support me, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.